countworm. Once there was a worm, countworm. One morning, when out for a walk, or rather a crawl, he met a small boy. The boy was crying. "What's the matter?" asked Countworm kindly. "Why are you crying?" "Because I can't count," sniffed the boy. Now, said Countworm, "would you like me to teach you how to count?" "Oh yes, please," said the boy, and stopped crying. "Very well," said Countworm. "Let us begin." "Now," continued Countworm, "let me ask you a question. How many noses do you have on your face?" The boy tried to look at his nose. "One," he said. "I have one nose on my face." "Correct," said Countworm. "And do you know what a one looks like?" "No," said the boy. "It looks like me," said Countworm. "Now," he continued, "let me ask you another question. How many feet do you have?" The boy looked down at his feet. It was easier than trying to look at his nose. "I have 2 feet," he replied. "Correct," said Countworm. "You do indeed have 2 feet. In fact, you have 2 feet more than me." And he turned himself into a 2. "Is that what a 2 looks like?" asked the boy. "Absolutely," smiled Countworm. "And what comes after 2?" asked Countworm. "Don't know," said the boy. "3," said Countworm. 3 comes after 2, and 2 comes after 1. "Oh," said the boy. "Look over there," said Countworm. "In that field there are 3 trees." And he turned himself into a 3. "1, 2, 3, said the boy. "Correct," replied Countworm. "And then comes 4, he continued. "Look, there are 4 birds sitting on that branch. Count them." 1, 2, 3, 4, counted the boy. "Splendid," smiled Countworm, who had already become a 4. They came to a farm gate. "How many bars does that gate have?" asked Countworm. The boy climbed up the gate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "And this is what a 5 looks like," said Countworm. They went through the farm gate and came to a field. "How many clouds are there in the sky?" asked Countworm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What comes next?" asked the boy. 6, replied Countworm. At the other side of the field was a farmhouse. "How many doors?" asked Countworm. 1, said the boy. "And how many chimneys?" 2, said the boy. "Correct," replied Countworm. "How many windows does it have?" asked the boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, said Countworm. "After 7 comes 8, said Countworm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like the flowers over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 flowers, said the boy. That's right, puffed Countworm. Turning himself into an 8 was a bit of an effort. In fact, turning himself into an 8 was a lot of an effort. I say, said Countworm, there are 9 apples on that apple tree. No, there aren't, said the boy, and he picked one of the apples and ate it. Now there are only 8 apples, he said, with his mouth full. Countworm smiled as he turned himself into a 9. You've learned how to count, he said, and laughed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, said the boy. What comes after 9? 10, replied Countworm. Will you turn yourself into a 10 for me? Asked the boy. Sorry, said Countworm. I can't do that without the help of a friend. And he whistled. A very loud worm whistle. Another worm appeared out of the ground. Percy, said Countworm, for that was the other worm's name. Will you help me show this little boy what a 10 looks like? My pleasure, said Percy. And between them they made a 10. Thank you very much, Percy, said the boy. My pleasure, replied Percy, and disappeared into the ground. And then the boy also said, Thank you, to Countworm. And then he went home saying, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over and over to himself. Countworm smiled and crawled off.